This is the funny shit ever. I didn't know we were going to have this kinds of conversation, which is also very nice.
I try to do
I laughed
both.
my ass off, and then we ended up here.
That's my goal, is to do both, is to be goofy as fuck and then try to get here. This is
Robert.
Okay, this has gone off the fucking rails.
Actors bitch way more than they should in a lot of scenarios.
And now here comes the podcast. Welcome to the show. Hello, everybody. You don't know anything? Welcome to the podcast. It's going to be a good time. If you're still around, podcast's about to start. We're called Help Wanted, and it's going to be in this...
Did you always want to act? Did you not want to act always? What's your relationship with acting?
I started acting when I was like 7-ish.
Yeah.
Like I started doing a little bit. My brother directed a short film. I was in that and stuff like that. And then I didn't do it for quite a while. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a paleontologist.
Paleontologist, dinosaurs?
Paleontologist, yeah. Dinosaurs, exactly.
Hell yeah.
That was my understanding of it. Then I figured out that it wasn't dinosaurs. It was brushing bones for hours on end and required a lot of patience. And I was like, well, fuck that noise. You know?
Yeah. That's.
But
I want to see the dinosaurs.
Right. So I was like, okay, so what's the closest thing to Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Paleontology. I wanted Sam Neill from Jurassic Park. I did not want Ross from Friends. You know what I mean? Then I wanted to start doing music. Okay. I wanted to be a rock star, and I played in a band with my friends. I wasn't very good, so I became an actor.
So sort of the last option for you. After everything else kind of failed, you were like, fine, fuck it, I'll be an actor.
Right.
Yeah, got it. What are some of your favorite projects that you've acted in?
I did a film called Carled.
Did you just say Carled?
I did just say Carled.
Okay.
So I did a film called Lords of Chaos.
Okay.
I did enjoy that one quite a bit.
I was actually in that film. I don't know if you remember that. I do remember that. Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story or?
Well, yeah, because everyone was fighting it was a big fight scene, remember? And I was on top of the hill looking down at the whole thing.
At the whole fight.
And I just said, boy, oh boy, these are Lords of Chaos. Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
And that's, crazy how it got its name from that.
Yeah. It was untitled before that. And then I said,
right. And they were like, Jonas, the director, was like, I don't know what to call this. I've been working on this for 8 years now. Rory Culkin was also like, he was like, I don't know, what we're doing here. But
right.
Luckily, Alex stepped in. You knew.
I knew.
And then I would also want to say Katla's Netflix show I did last year that came out a couple months ago is also good.
Hell yeah. What's that about?
Takes place in Iceland. It's about a volcano erupting and then some sci-fi shit starts happening. It's very mysterious and weird. Pretty cool. I saw Sharon Stone tweeted out that she was watching it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was actually kind of crazy.
That's dope. She's a close personal friend, so I'll check in with her.
Of course, yeah.
I'll check in with Share is what I call her.
Right. Just check the vibe, see what she thought of the show, and
People are saying we didn't appropriately make fun of Carl. We will.
Yeah.
Just give us time, please. This is just getting started. This stream will probably last 2 to 3 weeks, is what I understand.
I was going to go days, but
no, you've actually committed 2 weeks.
Funny story, actually. You'll remember this, Alex. Kieran Culkin, who's brothers with Macaulay Culkin, right?
Absolutely.
They also have a younger brother called Rory Culkin,
right?
Who plays the lead in Lords of Chaos. And you remember looking down at him fighting Lords of Chaos.
Yes. That's the whole story?
That was the whole story.
Wow. Okay. That story sucks.
I was just saying.
Pallavi's saying, name the most famous butt you know. What do you think that would be for you? I feel like Kim Kardashian.
Can I go so far as to say that I know you?
Oh,
we haven't met that many times besides all the films we've done together, but because I would say you if that's okay with you.
That's okay. That is. And people do often say I have a bit of a bubble butt is what they call it.
Right.
Yeah. That's what my wife says. She goes, you have a bubble butt. we're filming this trailer right now for a movie that is called Switched at Birth, which is about me and my son switching places, a classic body swap film.
So it's switched at his birth.
Oh, soon after his birth, there's a sort of magic
so
baby
is the
food.
movie called Switched Soon After Birth?
Yeah, it should be. Okay, you're getting caught up on the bit of the wrong.
Okay, I was just, you know, I'm pretty focused on titles. I have a close friend who often has the titular line in movies. So
that's true. No,
often when I hear a line, I'm like, okay, so how is this gonna work into this movie? Because what if my dear close friend has the titular line once again?
Right. And so you're focused on what the movie is called all the time. That's your that's the most important thing for you, is what is the movie called. We're filming this trailer, and in it, there's a part where the baby's in my mind, in my body. I went and bought some adult diapers to put on me. And Lauren,
you as the baby or you as the grown-up?
It's my body, but the baby's mind is in my body.
Was it your body or your mind that went to buy the diaper?
It was both of them, because that was just me as the creator of the vision. Anyways, Lauren had to put an adult diaper on me yesterday. And I don't think we're ever gonna come back from that, from what happened on that day. She was pretty traumatized.
With your bubble butt.
She was just pretty grossed out by having to put a diaper on my nude body. So I understand you're going to be in a new hockey film.
Yes. Show, technically, yeah.
Tell us about that. What's that about?
This Swedish hockey player called Börje Salming, who used to play for Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay.
They actually have a statue of him in Toronto. He played there from, I think it was 1973 to 1989. No, 1990. He played for the Maple Leafs. Needless to say, was there for quite a while, and he's a huge icon for hockey fans everywhere. And a couple of years ago, the director for this project approached me because he actually saw our film, Products of Chaos.
Yes,
I remember. Friends with the director there, and he was like, it was him and it was Börje, and they were like, "Hey, do you wanna do this?" And I was like, fuck yeah, I do. Wow. And then 3 years went by, and here we are.
Did you at that point know how to play hockey at all?
No.
And now, how good are you at hockey?
I'm okay.
Hell yeah. So do you have to train a lot?
I train a lot.
Damn.
All the time.
Wow. And what's the title of that show? Is it untitled?
So far, there's no official title for it. I mean, I'm sure you'll know before me, because you can just read your lines and figure out which one would fit the best for the.
And I would be happy to, just skating through the ice, say this is an untitled, whatever that guy's name is, project.
Börje Salming, yeah.
Börje Salming project.
You can say Börje Salming.
Boris Almond.
Yeah, Boris Almond. Exactly.
Got it. What is Sweden? If you had to describe Sweden, what would you say?
Winter.
Sweden is winter. Can I quote you on that? Can I put that in the New York Times? Sweden is winter.
Sweden's got the extremes in terms of seasons, right? So I'm in Stockholm, which is pretty far south in Sweden.
Okay.
But even here, we get 4 hours of daylight during winter.
Jesus Christ.
Up north, you get 0 hours of daylight. The sun doesn't come up for a couple of weeks. But the thing is, and then in the summer, the sun doesn't set if you're up north.
And is that why they call it the Stockholm Syndrome?
No. Funnily enough, my brothers just made a show called Clark about this bank robber called Clark Olofsson, which is about the guy who was actually the reason behind the term Stockholm Syndrome. So that it was an actual bank robbery in Stockholm with hostages, and one of the hostages fell, basically the Stockholm Syndrome. She fell in love with him and switched sides to him, and that was where the term came from. And now Witch Brother Bill is playing that guy.
What is Stockholm like? What can you? Because I'm looking at some Google stuff, but
it's beautiful. It's a very nice city. It's an old city in some parts of it. It's nice. It gets cold as fuck, but it's beautiful.
Let's go to. Is it true that you hate dogs? That's what someone just asked.
I do not hate dogs. I love dogs. Why would I hate dogs?
Why would he hate dogs? What is your least favorite pasta? Here are the juicy questions.
These are the juicy questions.
I guess. Suck at this. We're over at 51. We're at 51 million viewers. If you're new here, go ahead and lightly smush this follow button.
I haven't killed dogs before.
I understand you have a group chat that it looks like I'm not a part of that.
No, I left that group chat pretty early. I made it, I hated it, and then I left it.
Okay. But still, I'm not a part of it.
Oh, I don't know who's running it. You can probably be added to it.
Well, if you're not there, I don't want to be there.
Right. I'll make a group chat that's just you and me.
Okay, hell yeah.
I'm just gonna be like, oh well, that's just private DMs. No, I'll make it with a third person, instantly kick them. So it's still technically a group chat, but only you and I are in it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what is the meaning of existence? Here we go. Now we're really getting into it.
What is the meaning of existence?
Yeah.
Pasta.
Great.
Yeah.
Are you really the king of Twitter?
I am, yeah.
How did that happen? How did that happen?
I don't know. Entertainment Weekly just wrote an article saying that I was the king of Twitter once.
And why did they do that?
Because it's true, I guess. It's basically, they were like, talking about my siblings and stuff. And they were like, all these famous actors, but let us introduce you to their other brother, king of Twitter. And if you click Twitter in that sentence, it takes you to my Twitter.
This one.
This? Yeah, there's a delay. I don't know.
Alexander. But allow us to introduce you to their younger brother, Twitter King.
Screenshot. Right, Twitter King. Yeah.
Wow.
And if you click that, you see that it's a link. If you click that, that would take you to my Twitter.
This doesn't. I can't click on this.
Oh, because that's a screenshot.
Look, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what a screenshot is. I've never dealt with that before.
It is a photograph of a screen.
Now, I know you said you didn't want to talk about your family, but I do have one question. How do I become a Skarsgård? Because I think I would be a great addition.
The first thing you need to do is you need to go to the most northern part of Sweden you can get to.
Okay.
I can't say where that is publicly like this, but I will send you the coordinates if you are interested.
Okay.
And once you're up there, you will have to perform certain tasks.
Yep.
Some might call them offerings. Also, as I said, I cannot go into details. This information is only for people who are dedicated to being initiated.
To become
and while you're up there, you will have to grow over 6 feet. How you do that is none of my business. Once you return, your height will have to be minimum 6'2".
Okay, I can do that. Yeah, there are surgeries. These are really easy.
Right. So you'll figure that out. And then you have to follow the quest line given to you up there. And then as you return down to Stockholm, you will be interviewed by me, since I was the one who allowed you to start your initiation, right?
Right.
And once you've passed all of these tests, you will have to also bring a printed out version of your IMDb to prove that you are in fact an actor.
Already have that. Already have printed that out. Always print out your IMDb.
And that's mostly it. Yeah.
Okay. Great. I'll get on that as soon as we're off of here. In fact, I might just end this early and get to work. Also, I know you have an Alex in the family, so I'm assuming we would just kind of, I'm not going to say it, but we would
figure something out.
Yeah, we would take care of him.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Hey, like I said, it's family stuff.
It's family.
It's part of. Okay, Nash is asking. I want to know how he feels about farm stores. Farm stores.
No.
The answer is no.
Farm stores. It took me a minute to realize who was writing it and what it was in reference to, but no. Farm stores are ridiculous.
Okay.
And unreasonable.
I'm gonna just write your response. Farm stores.
Well, okay, while you write that, I'll be back in a second.
Oh, where are you going? Okay, I think we lost him, and that's fine because he wasn't a big deal anyways. He's kind of a bit. Let's be honest. He's a bit of a piece of shit. Farm stores are ridiculous. So I see we have 49 million people here. Let's see. How close am I to 100? Look at the viewer number dropping. It's actually not dropping. It's actually going up now that I'm here alone, because now everyone's like, oh, thank God Alex is finally here. Okay, we're at 93 followers. I've set a goal with myself and my parents that I'm going to hit 100 followers by the end of today. So if you're not smooshing the follower button, please. Huh?
We'll get you to 100.
We'll get me to there's one. Oh, Iana says, what is that, vodka?
Yeah, you'll see once you start your initiation.
What is your favorite brand of water? Jesus Christ, these are some of the dumbest.
Okay, no, so look.
Okay.
I live in Sweden.
Yeah.
My favorite brand of water is tap water.
Oh,
because
shit.
Jokes aside.
Let's stop joking.
All of the jokes, which haven't even been that frequent because most of this has been serious conversations.
Deep talk.
One thing I miss the most when I travel is Scandinavian water. I see Scandinavian because Norway, don't fuck around. Norway's water is sick as well. But tap water in Sweden is better than any brand of water.
Wow. What makes
it being better? Able to drink water from the tap is just a luxury that Americans just won't understand.
I drink water. This is from the tap.
Yeah, and how much chlorine does it taste like?
None.
Do you have like a filter?
No.
Are you just used to it?
Probably. Look, I'm just happy with where I'm at. American water is fortified with lead. That's not good, because I've been just chugging it. I give our baby water from the tap. Oh boy, about to get Chennai. They don't care. Alex, do not give your child water. Oh my God. Okay, I'm losing the thread. Yes, Alex. Oh my God. Okay, so now it depends on where you live. Okay, if you could be in a remake of any movie, which movie? Why? What role?
Lord of the Rings. Any role.
No, you have to pick a role.
Aragorn.
Yeah, hell yeah. I turned that role down because I wanted to just say Lord of the Rings.
That guy over there, he is the Lord of these rings.
Yeah. I pointed to Aragorn. That guy. You pointed. That's the Lord of the Rings.
Sauron. Yeah.
You're playing Smash Bros. Who's your fighter and why?
Kirby, because Kirby's the GOAT.
Kirby's cutie patootie too. Can we ask serious questions? Okay. Any tips for when you have an audition?
Sure. Make sure that you're well prepared. Try not to be too nervous about it.
Try not to be such a piece of shit.
Yeah. Try not to be a little bitch ass piece of shit.
Yeah.
You're good.
Okay.
Just try and be comfortable. Find a way to do it in your own way, and then just try and work with the casting director as much as you can, and just try and loosen it up. Nerves is going to be your biggest enemy.
Do you have a strong audition game?
No. I can't say that I do. I do mostly self-tape stuff, which is fine. I'm better at auditions in Sweden than I am in America, because in Sweden you usually get more time with the casting director and you can sit down and work it out, and that's fine. In America, it's sometimes you just go in and it's first you sit waiting with 10 people looking the exact same way that you do.
Dude,
and then you go in, read it once, and then they're like, okay, bye. And it's, I don't like that.
I weirdly feel like I do better with self-tapes than in person.
Because then you can just do it until you're happy with it. And nerves aren't going to play in, because you can just redo it for hours until it feels good.
Do you do an American accent for all the American roles?
I'm not very good at accents. I kind of speak the way I speak. I mean, depend if it's if they want a specific accent, obviously I'll do my best, but usually when it's just standard, I usually just go with the way I speak.
People are asking for your British and Scottish accent. And they say if you don't do it, they're gonna spoil Spider-Man.
No.
Wow. Okay, let's spoil Spider-Man. He turns out he's actually Superman the whole time. He reveals.
Wow. That's why he can't go home.
Yeah, he can't go home.
So
yeah, exactly. Okay, this one's for me personally. What's your social security number and home address and mother's maiden name?
123 nanyabiz@yourmom.com.
Ask if he has any grapes.
Yeah, I responded to that one.
You replied with a very kind. Does it look like I run a lemonade stand? And then it looks like actually from this photo evidence you do run a lemonade stand.
Right. and I conceded.
Yeah, good point. Look at all these noobs. Yeah, a lot of noobs are here. What's up, you losers? This is the best show. Well, I mean, what would we say? The best show on Twitch? Would you say that?
Yeah, I would.
And you would legally say that, the best show on Twitch.
Oh, the best show on Twitch.
Okay,
legally
we've got that on. So now we're going to move to the main event, which is you asking for help. And it can't be bullshit.
My main question to you, Alex, is from one actor to another, seeing as you have played characters with titular roles in movies like Dune.
I watched Dune and I thought it was a good film. I love the way Denis did what he did. And my part, obviously, everyone remembers I was in the middle of it all. And I go, this is such a classic Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then apparently now in Spider-Man, you tell them there's no way home.
Because
Krypton was destroyed.
I'm that guy. And your dad also said the word Dune.
He did say.
And that kind of pissed me off because
Dennis
was sort of
that was your thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So when you talk to your dad, tell him that was sort of my thing to do.
Should I talk to Dennis about it too?
I would, just connect with everybody.
Because hey, Dennis, good job, whatever. I'm still thinking about whether or not I want to do the sequel with you. I'll get back to you on that. But first of all, what happened with Alex and being the only one saying the title in this film?
Right.
And Lords of Chaos, obviously you said that one as well. So basically my question is, as an actor, how do you go by getting these crucial titular, not characters necessarily, but titular characters with titular lines in all these huge successful films, Lord of the Rings, even pointing to Aragorn or whatever you said and saying that guy's the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, well, okay, I'm glad you asked, and I'm glad this is a serious question. The way that you have to do it is because oftentimes the director will say, we don't need to say the title of the movie. Right. They'll be like, they know the title, they're watching it. And I say, no, actually, no, they might have forgotten and they might not know that this is actually that film until you say the title. So to answer your question, I mean, you just have to say it, and you might get a lot of, like, a lot of directors hate me for it, but they know that the finished product is better as a result. So it's just about confidence. And I'm actually learning about confidence here from Tony Robbins. I've been taking a little bit of his class, 11 Ways to Believe in Yourself. So what, besides that, which is an important question, do you have any other things that you need help for me and the people of the pod, the show, the workshop that we have here?
That is actually my question. How do you drop your guard? How do you let people in, Alex? How are you vulnerable?
Do you think you have a problem with that?
Clearly I do.
Well, I can't tell if you're being serious. Are you being serious?
I'm always being serious.
See that? It feels like you're not being serious. Right now, even you're having a hard time letting your guard down.
Exactly. And that's why I need help.
Okay. Daria says you're about to start sobbing and I'm close to breaking you and we just need to keep going. Like that scene in Good Will Hunting. Incredible film.
Were you in that one too?
Yeah, I go.
So Dune wasn't the first project you did with my dad.
No, we met on Good Will Hunting.
Right.
And in that one, I go, I point to him, to Will, and I go, that guy, that's Good Will Hunting. He's good, Will. He's good, Will Hunting. And that pause was really what won me the Oscars and the Emmys. And then with it.
You got an Emmy for the film?
Yeah, I was the first one to get an Emmy.
Was it a TV film, or like how did you?
No, they just the Emmys did a special thing. The Emmys were like, we've never done this before, but we're going to give this award to Alex Dobrenko for saying Good Will Hunting. Are there people that you're vulnerable with?
Close friends.
Not that open with family?
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to be more vulnerable with people? How to make a Skarsgård vulnerable.
This is my flamethrower. It's
shit.
Pieces right now.
That is the least vulnerable thing I've ever seen. I don't know how to be vulnerable, dude. That's a hard question.
You wanted it to be real.
Wait, Hillary actually had a good response. It depends on the person, people. Are you trying to figure out how to be more vulnerable in general or how to be more vulnerable with people you're already close to?
I don't know. What's in general?
You seem like you hate this right now. Is that right?
No. I'm enjoying our time together.
How do you handle rejections with auditions? That's good. That's a good question.
You just kind of have to not get involved. It sounds stupid, but you need to just be prepared to get rejected constantly. Like if you have the mindset of like, yeah, every time you go to an audition, you're like, oh, get super pumped, tell everybody you're like, oh, I'm going to get this part in this cool project. You're going to stop being an actor after 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for real.
Have you found that it gets easier over time to not?
Way easier.
Yeah, that's what I found.
Not all of it. Like the thing is, so like most of the time when I send in a self-tape, if you ask me the week after what film I auditioned for, I will most likely have forgotten it.
Yeah, that's the key.
Like for real, like I completely cut off. Like I'm like, okay, so I focus on it, I do it, I put the work in, and then I forget about it until I hear it, because usually you never hear back. But there are obviously some projects that are so big and so that you want so bad that you can't really let it go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those stay with you a little bit, but then it's not so much the rejection, it's more of the missed opportunity. Like I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, and like you learn to not put as much of your own self-worth in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's being an actor is very mentally challenging, but you kind of learn to do less of that so that you're not as like reliant on whether or not you get that part. They kind of just fade into the mix.
Why are you so opposed to being vulnerable in the first place? You can only be vulnerable when you want to be. That's the thing. Oh, Kat said, Alex, when you told me to be more vulnerable on my episode, it freaked me out and I've been overthinking it all week.
I'm going to do that too.
I think you can.
So you just tells everyone to be more vulnerable.
Yeah, I guess that's like my go-to like thing.
Go-to. You're like, oh, you don't know what to ask. Why are your walls up? Actually, you know what? That makes me that this information means that I won't be overthinking this all week. So I'm glad Kat took the hit so that I can take this with ease.
I think figuring out what feels so bad, scary about being vulnerable will help you figure out how to make it feel like not such a big thing. Daria says, Alex is obsessed with making people feel vulnerable. It's weird. It starts with secrets, then goes to social security numbers. Yeah. Look, I mean, that's my whole goal here is to make everybody as vulnerable as possible. That's my mission. That's my life's work, is being vulnerable your kink. Yeah, it is actually. Thank you for revealing that. Yeah, I guess you just have to not care what people, I don't know. All this stuff sounds so like lame and like kind of bullshitty. What's something vulnerable you could say right now?
I don't know. I don't know what vulnerable things people say. Also at the same time, I'm a very private person, so I'm trying to think like how I can meet your vulnerable requirements and still have my privacy up. You know what I mean?
Right. I think maybe a way to do it is like just saying how you feel. Like I'll tell you, like, I guess this will be being vulnerable. I'm worried that this is really boring and nobody is interested in this and they're like tuning out, you know?
Do you like mean that? This as in this specific conversation or this as in the podcast as a whole?
Both. I mean, the podcast as a whole, every day I'm worried that it's going to fail. And this piece of the conversation about vulnerability, I'm like, oh, this is dumb and it's not working. I can't get him to actually admit anything. So I'm failing.
Well, that's not you failing. It's just maybe we need to, loop around or be like, like, okay, oops, I'm doing a bunch of shit here. Let's keep it going.
Let's loop around.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do you need help with then? What's an actual problem you have right now? You can't have a perfect life.
I don't have a perfect life, but I have a private life, and that's kind of my thing. You know, like I'm not sure what questions I can reasonably ask that like, oh, I need help with this without being, you know, because like I've grown up in a family where from when I was born, basically, I've had to put a lot of effort into keeping my entire life private.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never known a life outside of the public eye, kind of.
Yeah.
So for me, privacy is a big part of everything, and I'm very reserved, to a point a little paranoid, because I've grown accustomed to people having ulterior motives, right? And in person it's very easy, you can tell like that if you meet someone and they want to like get an in, right? But online it's a little harder because you don't see people for what they actually are.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I imagine that's pretty hard to always have your guard up and shit.
Yeah, but you know, also at the same time, it's crucial for me. Like, you know, we can talk about being more vulnerable, but like, yeah, maybe that might be a thing. But like, if I didn't have my guard up, I wouldn't be able to live like I do. It's like, it's for the way I have to have it in order to survive. I can't afford to be naive.
That was very vulnerable to say, Valter. Yeah, people are saying,
got you guys, got
you. There you go. You did it. Yeah, that would be annoying to always have to be on your guard.
Yeah, you know, but it's all right. Like I've never, like, you know, I often get this question in interviews where people are like, so what's it like growing up in a famous family, or like, and you know, they often circle around to that, where they're like, I'm there to promote a project, and they're like, so what are you gonna do for Christmas? And I'm like, that's none of your fucking business. I'm not gonna tell you, and you know I'm not gonna tell you, so why are we wasting time? But the thing is, they always ask like, what's it like growing up in that kind of family? And I'm like, what's it like not to? You know what I mean? For other people, I get that it's interesting and that's something people want to know, but like, I don't know what to tell you because I have no reference.
Right.
I've never been in a family where people aren't famous. My dad started acting 35 years before I was born. Like, you know, it's like, and like, I'm not saying this like as you know, poor me growing up in a famous family, whatever. Like it's just like, what's it like not growing up in a famous family? Like it's you know, I don't have anything. It's hard when you have nothing to compare it to, you know what I mean? Right. I don't have any frame of reference because I don't know what the opposite is like. It just is what it is. And like having my guard up, yeah, that's just how I live my life. Like, I don't know what it's like to not have to do that. Maybe I would be so much happier if I didn't have to do that. I don't think so necessarily, but I wouldn't know because I've never been there. And in being in the situation that I am, having my guard up makes me way more comfortable than if I would not have my guard up, because then I would have to worry.
I bet it gets very boring when people ask you about your family.
It's a pointless question if I'm there to promote a show. Like, if I'm there to talk about my work and you're like, so what is the Alex? I'm like, I don't fucking know. You ask him. And it's also like they've chosen to be very private. So it feels weird for me to then be like, yeah, okay, so let me divulge their privacy then. Like if they chose not to tell people something, don't ask me about it because they chose not to tell people for a reason. And then it's not my thing to tell. And I don't like that. I don't like doing interviews where you feel like they're like trying to get something, because it's the same thing there. Like you can feel when they're like trying to get an angle based on how they phrase the questions. They're like trying to get you to slip up. And that makes me so uncomfortable, because then I'm like, okay, then I can't relax in this interview and I can't just talk and we can have a good conversation. Like, because like sometimes they're like, you know, you can have final say on this interview before it goes out, so that you don't have to worry, like if you don't want some information to go out, we can always edit it out and stuff like that. And I can be more comfortable in talking about the project without being afraid of, you know, giving away information. But if they're like looking for it, then I'm like, okay, I don't want to say anything now, because I know you're just going to try and look for anything that could be like a trigger word.
Yeah, you can't trust them. Well, now I'm just sad. That sucks. But I'm not sad. Like, it's fun. It's whatever.
No, like, you know, and it's like, it is what it is. And I knew what I got myself into. Like, my dad has said this several times, that he never tried to glorify acting, and he never tried to help us get into it. Like, because I saw an interview with him. If he helped us get into this business and we failed, we'd never forgive him for it. But if he helped us get into this business and we made it because of that, we'd definitely never forgive him for
Still,
it. You know what I mean? So he's like, I don't, so he always was like, he's like, fuck that. I'm, he never glorified it. So I grew up knowing that acting is a shitty fucking profession. I'm sure like with all the rejection and all the uncertainty, and like it's harder work than you'd imagine too. Like, obviously I'm not sitting here being like, like there's tons of jobs that I'm sure are a lot harder, but it's not what it's built up to be. You know what I mean? Right. It's not glorified. It's not, you're just sitting there in a trailer and being rich and famous. Like, it's shit sometimes, and it's long days and it's a lot of work and so much rejection and everything. And then, like on top of that, the fame, and then there's all that stuff, like, and like, the questions like this and having to have that wall of privacy. It's like, there's a lot. The thing is, what I tell a lot of people, like, if you don't want to get into acting for real, it's not gonna work. Like, you gotta really want it, because I personally think it's super worth it. But there are downsides, and I feel like a lot of people just see the glamour of it. You know? Like, I can imagine, like, people look at being a rock star the same way. Like, I don't know what it's like being a rock star, but I can imagine there's a ton of downsides to it that you just don't see. You just see standing on a stage in front of people and being rich and famous and partying.
Yeah, I mean, acting is very hard. Like, I feel like I just had my best year ever this year, and I still acted like, what's that?
I'm happy for you.
Thanks, man. But still, I acted like 8 days out of the year. Like, that was the best I've ever had. I did a video game voice earlier this year, and it was super fucking fun. Yeah,
dude, I would love that. I have a bunch of connections at different gaming like companies, and I keep telling them, like, you need a guy. I'm right here. Like, whatever you want.
It's so fun. Yeah, Shadow Warrior is this weird fun game, and I do one of the voices in the first one and in the third one that's coming up right now.
That's so cool, dude.
Yeah, it's really dope. I do like a demon voice. Any job career has their own struggles, obstacles to overcome.
Right. That's my point. Like, obviously, acting can be glamorous, and and I feel like actors bitch way more than they should in a lot of scenarios. Sometimes, you should just like shut the fuck up and realize that the crew around you works twice as hard. But there's my point is just that, like, compared to the image people have of it, there's also downsides.
Totally.
Not necessarily more downsides than any other profession. I'm just saying there are downsides which people forget sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like a good example of that is festivals. People glamorize the fuck out of festivals, whereas like they're really like trade shows. All businesses have like, the trade show that you go and look at the new things. That's what a film festival is.
Yeah, it's just that there's famous people there.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like a bunch of people in one industry hanging out, which is like kind of cool, kind of lame.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Basically, what you do is you're selling your body, right? You're like, here is me. Do you want me or no? And everyone's like, no, I don't like that. They're like, okay, I'll take it back. Do you want me? That's what you're doing. And then when you get a part, then you go to a festival and you're like showing them, you're like, here is me on a bigger thing. Do you guys like me? And then you get shit reviews and you're like, okay, so they don't like me. Like, and it's because it's not like they don't like this thing that I do for a living over here. Like, I work with building cups and these guys don't like my cups. This is me and me trying to exist, and that's what gets criticized. And that's kind of going back to the audition question. Like, that's what you have to come to terms with, trying to distance yourself from that. Which is impossible, but you have to have some distance so that you don't get hit every single time and not get hit that hard. I feel like a thing with social media and with streaming on Twitch and stuff, I'm in such a weird situation because I feel like people feel like that I'm very, reachable, right? Like, I'm attainable. Like, I'll probably see your tweet if you tweet at me. But at the same time, I sometimes get people that are as dedicated fans as if I was fucking Justin Bieber. I have to balance like how I'm trying to just be just a guy being a dude, with also knowing that like I have to keep my privacy up and not interact too much. Like, I try and stop myself from interacting on social media, because once I do, like, it so quickly switches. You know what I mean? That's like, if I interact a little bit and then I stop responding because I'm like, all right, I'm not going to be on Twitter for a couple of days. Then I can get people who are like, why the fuck are you ignoring me? And people just go off. And I'm like, okay, so then, you know, this is kind of, and with Twitch even more, because then you're sitting and you're talking to the same people day after day. And obviously they're going to feel a connection. But for me, I'm trying to still hold up the, like, be quite honest with, like, we don't have a personal connection. Like, you know, we can have a connection as like me towards you, like, or towards each other in terms of this chat or like a little bit on Twitter, but there's nothing more to it than that, because that's how I have to keep my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gets muddy as hell. And I've had a lot of issues with that being on Twitch for so long.
I mean, it's that parasocial relationship thing.
Exactly.
Like, but that's also part of the deal, right? Is that like they get that access, and yeah, so it's weird. I mean,
right, but it's just they get that access, but then it's hard for them. Obviously, I'm not putting any blame. Of course, it's going to be hard to know where the limit goes.
Right. It's like, what
because
is that
I
line?
can't be like, this is where the limit is, you know, because like it's so, it gets like personal, but at the same time, I'm trying to keep it not that personal, and I'm like, you know, it's hard. So that's why I try and be quite honest with it. Like, we're not friends. You know what I mean? Like, me and my chat, like most of those people, like, yeah, I appreciate the support. We can sit there and we can laugh, and we can talk, and we can fuck around, we can have fun. They don't know me. You know what I mean? And I have, I'm the same way with forming like actual friendships online as well. Like with you or with Llama or whatever, like actually talking outside of the public eye or whatever.
Right.
And it is way more personal.
Yeah.
I still, like, even people that I know quite well from online, I'd still think 3, 4, 5 times before I actually met up with anyone. Because I'm like, okay, well, if we meet up, that's for real then. And then I'm actually letting you into my life. You know, so being like Twitter friends for me is different from real life friends.
I mean, that's been a mind fuck for me, dude. You know, like over the pandemic, that's when I got deep into Twitter, and I formed what feel like real friendships.
Right.
But it's like Lauren, my wife, is not on Twitter. And it's like, it's so weird to try to explain any of this to her. Exactly. You know, I'm like, yeah, I'm in these chats, and, you know, these people are awesome. And it's like, I can feel the judgment of how anybody would feel, because it's strange.
All of a sudden they get canceled or whatever, or something happens. And it's like, people are like, oh, it turns out this person was a piece of shit. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm kind of glad I didn't get super involved in all of this. And for me now, it's easier to just step back if this person turns out to be a piece of shit.
Right.
But for some people who are invested, it gets muddied then, obviously, because they're like, wait, this is someone I'm so close with, and now I find this stuff out, right? But like, take my best friends in real life, the odds are, it would be very unlikely that something would come out that I wouldn't already know. I know my best friends in real life so well that if they were shitty people, I would know it by now, right? Like, it's not going to be like all of a sudden someone's like, oh yeah, so by the way, this is what your best friend of 10 years is actually like.
Yeah.
Like, no, I know him inside and out. You know what I mean? Like, we're family. So I would have found out if he was an asshole long before now. And like, I'm the same way with speaking up about issues online as well, overall. Like, if I'm engaged in an issue and I have a standpoint on this issue and I have the information, then obviously I'll take a stand, and you know, use my platform for what I think is right. Yeah. But if I don't feel like I have enough information, like, even though my gut might be like, oh, this definitely is like this way, whatever, like my opinion would definitely be this in this scenario. But if I'm not 100% sure, I'm not going to go out and talk about it, because I don't know exactly what happened, and I don't want to be there and form a bunch of opinions and make other people form opinions if maybe I'm in the wrong, because I don't have the whole picture. I don't always, you know, have the emotional energy to get involved in all of these topics and all of these issues and all of these things. And for me personally, it might not be something that I would need to speak up on anyway. You know what I mean? Right. People like on my Twitch, they're like, oh yeah, Valter's such an asshole. And everyone on Twitter like, yeah, you're a fucking asshole. I'm like, of course I am, because that is my Twitter.
That's your persona.
Yeah. Right. That's my persona. And it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm going to go online and be an asshole for fun. It's just like, that's kind of part of my wall, right? Like I'm like that because we're fucking around, and that way we can be friendly, but also I keep you at a distance because I I'm a little rude, but in a funny way. So that's ways of forming a friendship, but also keeping distance, right?
It's like both charming and distance creating.
Exactly. It creates distance, but it also creates a little bit of a friendship. And it's easier to connect, to control that, right? Because if I'm just super nice, then I'm like, okay, then I feel like people are gonna fall in and I'm gonna have to take on too much more than I'm able to. While as in real life, I've a really hard time being mean to people. And like, if you'd ask anyone who actually knows me, I'm a really nice person. And that's not me tooting my own horn. That's like one thing that I actually know is true about myself. And then someone who knows me, they're like, well, actually, Walter's a nice guy. And then I was like, yeah, sure he is. And I'm like, that's kind of my point. You don't know who I am, because I've never shown who I really am online, because that would open doors that I don't want to open.
And I've been thinking and struggling with this too, is like, as I develop and get into Twitch, I'm like, is that a good idea? Because being part of Twitch is getting deeper into everything you're talking about.
And that's the thing. Like, I definitely think it's a good idea. And I think you're very good at it, if we're being,
thank you so much,
being candid. And that's what I said the first time when when you did this first time, I was laughing my fucking ass off. And that's why I was like, as soon as you hit me up and you're like, you want to be on? I was like, of course I will. This is the funniest shit ever. I didn't know we were going to have this kinds of conversation, which is also very nice. But
I tried to
laugh my ass off, and then we ended up here,
that's my goal, is to do both, is to like be goofy as fuck and then try to get here.
Right. And you're very, very good at it. And the thing is, as long as you feel that it's worth it, I think keep going. You know what I mean? But if you reach a point, like for me, sometimes I reach the point where I'm like, fuck this. And then I deactivate my Twitter. I delete my Twitter account, whatever. I'm like, all right, fuck this. But up until that point, I'm like, okay, but the good outweighs the bad. I don't have that much problem with Twitch anymore, because I kept running into this issue for a while with people. And then those people started going away. Because I was like, I'm not going to let you in more than this. And I'm being frank with this. And I'm going to have this kind of persona. I'm going to be rude in a charming way, whatever. And people are going to be like, oh, you're a fucking asshole. I'm like, fine, then I am a fucking asshole. I know that I'm not. And this is how I have to deal with this, so that we can have a good time when I'm streaming. And now, after 6 years of streaming, now I have the best community ever. I love everyone who's in my stream. I think you just need to, for your own sake, just be a little aware of it. And I think you'll be good. Just be like, so that you don't end up like in a spot where you feel that you've let people in more than you would want to, or shut people out more than you'd want to, just so that you're a little bit aware of where you're at. Just feel what makes you comfortable, and try and aim towards being in that comfort zone.
Yeah, because for me, it feels like a really good idea, because I'm trying to do stand-up, I'm trying to do all that. But with a baby, like, I can't do as much of that as I want. And so this is sort of my plan of like, well, I can do it here and not have to travel the country,
travel the world. Right.
Yeah,
so I think that's a great way to start, building up a fan base. If you can use social media and Twitch and like the internet to your advantage, that's so good, because there's so much shit with the internet and with social media and with how it's being used. You can find a way to make it work for you. That's like, that's the best situation.
Yeah. And I think the more that I just focus on the present and like, okay, I like talking to Valter right now. This is dope. This is fun. As opposed to being like, okay, I'm going to grow this into like some fucking empire. Because I can go down that road too. I'm like, okay, this is going to be like a huge thing, but then it stops being fun.
Right. So just like take it one day at a time and have like, keep working forward, but manage your expectations and just make sure that as long as you have fun, I think that's the best thing.
Yeah, man, I'm having fun.
But like that's my tip when people ask like, how do you become a streamer? I was like, play games that you find fun. Don't play games that everyone wants to watch. Because like big streamers, they're like, they adjust the games to like, oh, this game is in now. I'm like, yeah, but that's because they're professional and they do this for a living. But like, if you do that, you're gonna, you still need to know like, this is what I like doing, and this is what I find fun. And if you stick to that, you're gonna enjoy it, and then people are gonna enjoy being there.
Do you think I should start actually playing games too, or can I just do this?
You can just do this if you want.
Okay.
Not everybody plays games on it.
He's left again. Valter has walked out of here 3 times already. Hi, Alex. Hi, Chrissy. How does Valter know you? How do you know? I'm a Veal-Tart Skarsgård stan. I mean, I think we all are. If we're in this room, we all love Veal-Tart Skarsgård. The guy he's a living legend. We met on Twitter. We met in the group chats. I actually usually say Veal-Tart. So it's like a dessert with veal. Yeah, that's how it's pronounced in Swedish, actually. Valter actually made following the instructions on a website. Yeah, exactly. You were creative.
Yeah, I'm 3/4 pounds veal. I didn't see the rest of the ingredients, but
Katla is a really good show. Plugging that again.
Oh yeah, that's the show I did in Iceland.
Oh, okay. They wanted you to plug it. Okay, this has gone off the fucking rails. You've seen The Square, right? And Force Majeure.
The Swedish movie?
Yeah.
I actually haven't.
Dude, what the hell? It's so good.
I've heard so much good about
it. You've seen Force Majeure? That's the other one that he made.
Ruben Östlund?
Yeah, I think so. It's an incredible movie. I love that movie. You haven't seen that?
No, I haven't. I don't watch a lot of Swedish stuff. Force Majeure, I worked with him.
Which one? This
Christopher Hivju.
Oh, he's fucking dope. Was he cool?
Really yeah, he's such a nice guy.
He was in Game of Thrones too.
Yeah, he was.
He seems like a badass.
Yeah, he's very nice guy.
Yeah, I like Swedish stuff. I want to know what his training looks like for the hockey show.
A lot.
Is it fun or is it like grueling?
Both. It's fun sometimes, but it's mostly grueling.
Are you in like super good shape though?
Not yet. I'm gonna be.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, so that's gonna be fun.
Dude, that's a big deal that you're playing like this fucking guy.
Yeah, I didn't realize how big of a deal it was until we announced it, really. And like, you know, all of the Canadian news outlets like started tweeting it out like immediately. I was like, oh, okay, so they actually really care about it. Yeah, I'm excited for it. So how's dad life treating you, Alex?
How is dad life? It's hard, man. I mean, it's both amazing and really hard. And he's almost 8 months old. And
when did we get to know each other?
Probably before he was born.
Right? Yeah, I feel like I remember
the 5K thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was when we started. When I followed you.
Yeah. So for those of people who don't know, that was the doctors, and this is all true. The doctors told us that the baby would not be able to come out until I hit 5,000 followers on Twitter.
Did you hit it first?
Yeah, I literally, and I'm this is not a joke. I literally hit it like the same day that Lauren went into labor. Yeah. I'm fucking serious.
No, for real. Okay, for real though.
Yes.
That actually happened.
We were in the hospital, and it was like we were in the hospital, like she was on the bed, but like we hadn't gone into active labor yet, because like you're in labor for like 30 hours, but you know, active labor happens for like 2 hours or whatever. And I hit 5K like an hour or two before she went into labor.
That's crazy.
And I was like, Lauren, I know this isn't a good time, but I just want you to know.
Walter was just chilling. He was like, no, just wait. Just wait for it. And then 5 hours is like, all right, let's go.
Let's do it. Is that a kitty behind you? Are they talking to me? Oh no, that's Robert.
Oh, he looked up when you said his name.
Oh, come here.
Oh, he heard his name. That was so cute.
We can do the trick that Robert does.
This is Robert.
Robert.
He needs a smooch and a boop. There's a boop right there. Here, I'll show you guys his trick. All right, ready?
So high pitched that the mic mutes it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like you can hear it, and then it just goes like super like distant from it.
Good job, dude.
That was adorable.
He's a freaking wolf.
He is a freaking wolf.
You're a freaking wolf, bro. Yeah, he's awesome. He has had it hard since Wilder was born because he gets a lot less attention. But now Wilder's like getting more interested in him and dropping a lot of food for him. I mean, I don't know, man. It's hard in general because it doesn't seem like it should be hard, but it's just this sort of monotonous, difficult sort of thing. I'm just like, it's like he's like pretty boring.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like hard to like stay interested in him. And then I always feel bad. Like I'm like, oh damn, I'm not like a good enough dad or whatever, even though I know I'm doing fine or well, but it's like, it's just hard because not much is going on. Now more and more he's like engaging, and I think it's going to be really, really fun once he can start like talking, and we can start
when it becomes a person.
Out. Yeah. And like someone that like is so curious about the world and shit. Like I think that's going to be too much, like too awesome. And that's a big part of why, like I said, I don't want to like go be a stand-up that's gone from home for like most of the year. He like lights up when he sees us, you know, he recognizes us. And when he does that, when he like sees you and smiles, it's like there's no better feeling.
I know what you mean.
It's the whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, it makes me understand like life a little more in that, like, I get what my parents have always been talking about. I just see like the whole thing a little bit more.
I think it's so crazy, like looking at a baby, like say Wilder's age, because like right now they're just a chore, right? Like they don't, they're alive, but they're not. To me, like when I've been around that small babies, I've been around a lot of babies in different stages, right? And it's just like, okay, yeah, like it's fucking adorable, and like the instinct, and you know, there's so much emotion there, but like practically, if you just put them down, they're just gonna stay on the floor right there. You know what I mean? Like they're not. They have no impact other than what you let them have on you. You know what I mean? Because they're fully in your control and whatever.
Right.
And it's so weird to think that this little blob that has no control over anything could change the entire history of the world. Like fucking Einstein was a baby. Hitler was a baby. It can go either way, is what I'm saying. Like,
right. And I tell him
the
that
fact
every
that
day.
at one point
I go, you could be Einstein, you could be Hitler. Which
I
have photos of each, and I let him crawl toward one or the other, you know, so we see kind of where he goes. I was at the store the other day, and Wilder's like blonde. He's got just like a little blonde haircut or whatever. And I saw this adult in front of me with the same kind of blonde haircut. And I was just like, holy shit, like Wilder's gonna look like that one day.
Yeah.
Like a full adult body, and like just kind of like roaming the world.
Like I think about that so much, like whenever you're watching movies or something where like a son kills his father or something. Is it patricide or whatever it's called? And the fact that like at that point they're obviously capable of doing it, but like up until that point there were so many years where if the father knew that was coming, they could have been like, oh, just like stab him in half, whatever, you know what I mean? Like they're so like the fact, like how the turntables, you know what I mean? Like the absolute turning of the tables of like, you know, how the roles just completely can switch there, like
totally.
And when like I watched this film, The Father, the Anthony Hopkins yesterday, it's that thing how like, you know, at one point she was a little blob that couldn't take care of herself. If it wasn't for him, she wouldn't have survived that, you know what I mean? And then how he then goes to a point where he can't take care of himself anymore, and then she has to, you know, it's kind of weird how just like the fucking cycle of humans, like that we all go from this little innocent blob to being Einstein or Hitler.
My grandparents all came from Russia, and I mean so did I. But they got.
Were you born in Russia?
I was born in Ukraine. Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, dude, I'm an immigrant.
I feel like every American is an immigrant except for Native Americans.
Yeah, but I'm a first generation. We moved to America when I was 7.
But you were like actually
for
several years. You could speak and go to school before you even set foot on American soil. Crazy.
Yeah, but I just.
So you're a U.S. citizen now and everything.
There was like a program in like the 80s and 90s that was like, if you're Jewish in any of the Soviet Union, you have like a path to come to America.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what we did.
So you like speak fluent. So would you say that Russian is your first language?
I mean, it's definitely my first.
Oh, well, yeah, technically. But
it's not my best.
Right.
Like I speak Russian at like a 8-year-old, 9-year-old level, you know?
Oh, okay.
It kind of like froze there. So I can say anything. I can, if we were in Russia, I would be able to communicate anything I needed, and the like all of the tenses sound like shit. You know, it's just like, it doesn't sound great, but you'll know what I'm saying.
Right. So it's not like for me with English and Swedish kind of.
It's probably not like that because you probably speak both of those fluently.
I mean,
right?
Swedish is obviously my native tongue, and that's you know, and you can hear how I am at speaking English.
Speaking of video games, what are your like actual favorite games to play?
League of Legends, sometimes Minecraft, and then a lot of shooters like Rainbow Six, Call of Duty, stuff like that. You know, I play a bunch of story games and stuff.
What's like a good game that I should get into that I'd have a lot of fun with?
Not League of Legends.
Not League of Legends.
Single player games, because then you're not as reliant on like how good other people are. Story games, Last of Us, Portal.
Do I need a PC
Skyrim?
for all these?
No, Last of Us is only for PlayStation.
Okay, I have my friend's PlayStation 4.
Right, you should play Last of Us 1.
Okay.
It's the best game ever made.
Okay, shit. Okay.
Hands down. Skyrim is great.
Because I have a Mac, and I feel like Macs aren't as good for.
No, the options are limited, and the ones that you do have are usually not great. I think I gotta start wrapping it up now. I got an early morning.
Hell yeah, dude! This was amazing. I had a blast.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast,
dude. This was awesome.
Thanks for all the questions, you guys.
Truly, thank you for joining.
If you haven't already, follow this Twitch channel right now.
Guys,
right here, right now. Listen to your father, or follow right now, or you're grounded.
Wow.
I will put you in grounding.
You'll be put in the
You'll
ground.
be put in the ground.
Hell yeah.
By your father, if you don't follow right now.
I'm not hearing any new follows, so I think a lot of people are about to be
put in the ground.
Yeah, put in the ground. Under. And also join the Discord. Oh, there's a follow. Right. There's one. Dude, thank you. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the internet. All right.
All right. Thanks.
Later, dude.
Peace out.
Bye.